Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about swimming and water mechanics in Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Got to play the multiplayer, got to experience this a lot, ask questions, work with it. I decided to break this apart from the movement mechanics and put it in its own video because I know that there's going to be the most amount of questions about the swimming and the water. So I want to make things clear, only one map that we played had water in it. Only one, the other three did not. And from what the developers were talking about, not all of the maps are going to have water. So don't expect to see this in every map. He said half or less, and if it follows the trend of what we saw, of course, it would be a third. But let's start with the basic stuff. Let's say you see some water and for whatever reason you want to jump into it. When you jump into the water, there's no awkward transition. The controls don't change. All your normal controls are exactly the same, and it is a perfectly seamless transition. Honestly, you don't even notice it because they use the water kind of like creating an extra path, and the path is always on the bottom of the map because that makes sense because water sinks to the bottom of whatever, it just drains down. But you just hop in, nothing weird, nothing goofy, and when you jump into the water, you swim at pretty much the exact same speed that you normally move. Your normal walking, running speed, that's the exact same speed that you use when you hit the water, so you're not just going to go blub, 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 and fish through the water. That's not going to happen because this is the future and you are a cybernetic kind of person, and I would hope that your cyber arms are fast enough to paddle appropriately. I don't think that you can sprint in the water. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think that there is a sprint mechanic in the water. I might be wrong. I just don't think I tried to do it. I more or less had my guns up in the water, which is the next thing. You can keep your guns up and use all that in the water. I'll talk about it in just a second. You can also thrust under the water. Your little thruster pack that pushes you up, down, left, right, sideways, whatever, that works the exact same way in the water as it does on the land, except you can't do the knee slide. Most people tend to use the thruster packs to boost out of the water or to safety, so you can only hold your breath for so long, and when people want air, they have a tendency to just bust out dramatically instead of slowly, or if you're in trouble, you can use your kind of thrust pack to kind of get around the corner a little bit faster in the water. While you're down there, you can shoot all of your guns, and you have full use of equipment, aim down sights, hip fire. It's a little bit different when you throw grenades underwater. It's not like throwing them in the air. They have a different physics. They don't go as far. They blow up a little differently. As far as things like shock charges, they were talking about making those perform differently in water because they're electric, and maybe a couple of other things, smoke, anything relating with gas. But all your normal guns work perfectly fine. Again, aim down sight, reload, anything that you could normally do, throw your C4, detonate it, whatever. You can also shoot out of the water or into it with no damage reductions. So if I'm in the water and I see a guy also in the water, I can break out my SMG or whatever, shoot him right in the face and kill him. The exact same rate of fire, speed, everything, damage that we would have on land. If I'm glubbing around in the water being a little camper or trying to be sneaky and some guy sees me, which is actually a little bit hard to do because there's a visual distortion, like you can't see into the water because it's a little bit muddy sometimes, and while you're in there you can't see out very well. But if I were too close to the surface, they could probably see me. He could just look down and shoot me and kill me. No problems, no damage reduction. It's not like AW when you hide in the water, you know, it deals less damage or whatever. Or if I'm in the water and I see a sniper sitting on a ledge somewhere not paying attention, I can shoot out of the water and kill the sniper, no problems whatsoever. But again, the water, it's kind of dirty, at least for this particular map. I can't see into it or out of it very well, and it's only slightly better when you're in the water. It's kind of like a slightly stealthier path. Like if you want to go just a little bit slower than usual, a little bit more covered, you can hop in the water and move around, but it does kind of limit your movement somewhat. You also cannot camp in the water. That's not going to be a thing because you'll drown. You can only hold your breath for so long.